Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
We're in the executive wing today.
We are.
Great conversations. Today we're going to move down the hall. I don't even know where his office is in relationship to the secretary.
Right next door.
Right next door.
Hey.
Joining us today, Nathan Haak, CFO for the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Nathan, welcome to the Coffee Hour.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
We finally get to introduce you. You've been here for, what, a year now?
No. 5 months. 5.5 months.
5.5 months that feels like a year. So,
Tell me
Doing
about
a
it.
great job.
I don't want to get the math wrong on that. So tell us about your path that led to you serving as CFO for the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod.
Sure. So I'll take you way back. It all started in the 4th grade. I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek. However, you know those school books that parents fill out where it's, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mm-hmm. 4th grade, accountant entered the picture.
No way.
And didn't leave until my first accounting class in college where I said, that's not what I want to do. But I was sort of already into it at that point and realized there were other things I could do. So then I continued and got my CPA and all that kind of stuff and started with a company called Emerson right out of undergrad. And I spent the last 13 years with them in a variety of finance-oriented roles, both on the audit side, learning about sort of technical accounting, and then on the finance side, working with financial planning, working with forecasting, budgeting, understanding those kind of things across a variety of levels of that organization, which is a $15 billion manufacturing company. So learning a little bit about the difference in scale between that and a $60 to $70 million budget now. But that's, I guess, the quick answer. So
I'm glad there are people like you in the world who love this kind of stuff.
that's right. I'm fully into it. So.
That is fantastic. I love it when people love what they do. Like that is fantastic, especially the things that I really don't like, because I just have a whole lot of respect for you and and just your love of doing these types of things. It's so great.
Yes, I live for numbers. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a technical question. Is the CFO of the Synod appointed or elected? How does this work?
Appointed by the board now. Prior to 2010, I went back and looked because I thought that once upon a time it was an elected position, and I was right. Up until the 2010 convention, it was elected by convention, and then with all the bylaw changes that happened in 2010, one of the things that they changed was the CFO/treasurer position went from being elected by convention to appointed by the board. So appointed now, as I was, but not always.
Huh.
History lesson.
That's a fun little trivia fact right there for
right.
all you LCMS trivia people.
Ooh, add that to trivia night.
Yes.
So what is most, 5.5 months into this, so you know everything about it now, about being CFO, what's most challenging about the duties of the CFO of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod? That's a really just fun, long title and intimidating.
Yeah. And that's only part of it because really it's, treasurer and CFO.
Oh,
of the Lutheran
my
Church
apologies.
Missouri Synod.
I will correct that in the note.
So there's sort of, in my opinion, a twofold answer to this. One, coming from where I came from, shifting from an environment where we sort of know what revenue is going to be based on what customers have ordered and we have a lead time. And so we can say, because our orders were this, we know revenue is going to be this, and we can plan around that. Here, it's very much what the Lord provides to us through his people is what we will have to work with. And we have to plan our expenses around that and hope that we're in the ballpark of being close enough that we can sort of flex as necessary. And I say that sort of specific, I guess, to the LCMS Inc. aspect of the job, because then the broader perspective is that, synod in convention type of purview where, my job responsibilities extend beyond these four walls and really act as the treasurer, in charge of financial matters for the entirety of Synod. And that's where then the other sort of challenge comes in, is all of those I have really no direct control over. It's just my job to sort of try to influence and help understand and do my best to make sure that financial matters across the Synod have been sort of considered more broadly. So, thinking about the schools or the other entities or things of that nature, I don't have any direct control over those, but, they sort of fall under that, what's the health of the LCMS, financially speaking. Mm-hmm. So that's challenging.
Yeah. What are some things that you've learned over the last few months that maybe you weren't expecting to have to learn, or like new exciting things that now you know how to do?
Something that's new, I don't know if I would call it exciting. Not-for-profit accounting is, or I don't know much of the details of the accounting and actual, sort of debits and credits, as you may have heard. That sort of works the same. You have to have a balanced journal entry with everything, but how things are reported and how you think about where you get funds from and stuff like that is, in most undergrad and even graduate courses in accounting, it's a chapter in one or two courses. And then here it's like living it every day. And those nuances are occasionally very challenging to understand what it is I'm actually talking about. So I have Ross help me a lot these days still with Ross. I don't know if the listeners know my sort of chief accountant. Ross, I don't understand what it is that I'm doing here, so please help me. Because he's been here a lot longer than I have and knows a lot more. So,
and that's just something about the connection between generations and passing the torch in a sense here at the International Center.
Sure.
Having the chance to work alongside Ross, who's been serving the Synod for a long time as director of accounting. What are some other things you're learning from Ross in this process that you can share?
I was going to say, I learned plenty from Ross. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, how to get things done in this environment. As I mentioned, one of the challenges being the sort of cross borders issues that happen in the Synod, and that occasionally the wheels aren't as well greased as you might think they are from the outside. So working with other entities and working with other departments and understanding, okay, who does what and who can help with what, learning my way around this building is a big one. Thinking about finance as trying to think of the right way to phrase it, sort of a contributor to the mission as opposed to sort of the end result. That's in the public company environment, obviously I was in a manufacturing company, so the products drove the business, but those products had to result in financial success, meaning larger profits, higher sales, all those kind of things. Here, the definition of financial success, I think, is sort of stewarding the resources that have been given to us in the best way possible to serve the church. And so there's a different set of outcomes that we're managing towards that, Ross, again, with his experience not only long in the Synod, but also having been in the field way back, sort of gets inherently, versus for me, it's a little bit more of a learning process.
Having a career, a successful career in the commercial realm, why did you accept the appointment from the board of directors to come serve as treasurer and chief financial officer for the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod?
Sure. Sometimes I ask myself the same question.
Every morning when I get out of bed.
Oh, gosh. No, I think it is that last point that I was making, it was something that was attractive to me, which is the opportunity to focus on something outside of profits, and the opportunity to use the gifts that I've been given and, the desires, as we mentioned, going back to fourth grade, wanting to sort of do this, to help with the furtherance of the gospel. I certainly understand that we as accountants are not preaching the gospel when we put together financial reports, but by, stewarding the funds that we're given, we're enabling this broader organization and this broader church to do that. And so, it's, I would say, a lot like what other millennials are doing these days, which is changing how it is that they define success, with my focus being a little bit less maybe on ESG topics and a little bit more on, furtherance of the church. So
yeah, it's definitely a privilege, I guess, a humbling experience to be able to serve the church in ways in quote unquote church work, maybe not even quote unquote, but in a way that you can serve the church with talents even beyond just being a pastor or a teacher or somebody that's in the congregation. It's a really cool thing to be able to do this.
Right. Because again, it's not something I would have ever considered, and I never considered myself, again, 4th grade accountant. My brother's a pastor. My father's a Lutheran high school teacher. He's retired now. Both my grandfathers were, but that was not my calling. And so to then sort of realize that there's an opportunity to live some aspect of that calling, even with what I'm actually called to do, which is numbers, was pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Awesome. I think it's time for the lightning round.
It is.
Before we run out of time. All right. We're going to just ask you some of your favorite things.
Sounds good.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Favorite cuisine?
Tacos.
Ooh.
Book.
Magician by Raymond Feist, and then all of the following. I'm a fantasy novel kind of guy. So, yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. Favorite movie?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know the answer to that one either. Next question. The Lion King.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Ice cream, or if you're not an ice cream fan, dessert.
It's definitely ice cream. Salted caramel.
Ah, that's a good one. All right. Favorite vacation destination?
I would say I'll answer it with a little bit of I guess Hawaii. We went there for our honeymoon. And as I tell everyone, it's not overrated.
Oh.
You hear great things about that place. They're all true.
All right. Good to know.
All right, I stole this one from Sarah, but it's one of my favorites. Favorite office supply.
Yeah, and so interestingly, I brought it along. It just so happens. It's the Energel Pentel pen. There is no pen that writes better.
We have never had that specific of an answer.
Specific.
This is the one.
That is amazing.
You can't do better than this.
I think we should just buy those for everyone in the Synod.
You need the needle tip 0.5 because they also come in the 0.7 and those aren't as good.
I love it when people love what they do.
I like the Pilot G2 gel pens, but apparently not as nice
Pentel
as this
Energel.
Pentel Energel.
Oh,
Okay.
And they also are just a much nicer writing experience.
This is amazing.
That was very specific.
That's so
Most people
specific.
like paperclip.
That's what it takes to be a CFO again.
Specificity and
Yes.
detail.
As my old boss would say, fastidiousness.
Okay. I'm going to throw a random one at you.
Oh,
and
boy.
This may be unfair because you're a fan of numbers. Do you have a favorite number?
No. I don't.
Just thought I'd ask you.
They're all equally wonderful.
All right, I've sat near you in chapel, so I have to ask this one because I've heard you sing. Do you have a favorite hymn?
Yes. My song is Love Unknown.
Oh.
Amen.
It's my favorite. So.
That was fun lightning round. With the new CFO of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, Nathan Haak, thanks so much for joining us today on the Coffee Hour.
Thank you. A pleasure.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.